Throughout the scriptures, we hear the admonition to welcome the widow, the orphan, the stranger. In other words, we are called to respond to the cry of those who have no status. In the book of Leviticus, we read, "You shall love the alien as yourself." The letter to the Hebrews suggests that upon welcoming strangers, some have entertained angels unaware. The Dominican Sisters of Sparkill were founded by Alice Thorpe, who came from England to this country to work for the betterment of those who suffered. She attracted a small band of women, and since 1876, Dominican sisters and their associates have been about the task of loving the alien as oneself, lest we miss an opportunity to entertain an angel. Early on, it became apparent that education was essential for immigrants to integrate into mainstream society. So schools were built and families were strengthened. Our sisters welcomed Cambodians, Vietnamese, and worked with the migrant farmers. In the Bronx, St. Rita's Center helped resettle over 17,000 families. And in Nyack, one-to-one learning, which you will hear more about in a minute, has served more than 6,000 immigrants. And this past summer, I traveled with Sisters Marilyn and Valerie to the border, where we welcomed more than 1,400 refugees as they entered this country.
I got an email from our community saying, "Oh, we need some help down at the border. Can you come?" Something happened when I opened that email. I said, I have to. These are my people.
And this past summer, we all had an opportunity, 3 of us, to go to Laredo, Texas, and work in a respite for immigrants who had passed through the border and were applying for amnesty or refugee status and had a sponsor. But where they had been before the Border Patrol dropped them off, we don't really know. We presume in a camp.
The ICE trucks come in and they release a group of people. So maybe it could be 30, it could be 40 at a time. We couldn't take more than that. And all of us were there welcoming them. And they come in, so they're coming in like this, they're shaking. And again, they have been traveling for over a month with everything I'm telling you. They're stripped, they're in such need of hygiene, of warmth, of baths, of clothing, and everything they have is gone. The babies don't have diapers, the babies don't have milk. And we welcome them, and everyone is talking with them to make sure they know they are safe. That's the first, they are safe.
If they were sick, they came to me. And I was the nurse practitioner in this small room. It was just like a little room. And I started examining their eyes, their ears, listening to their heart and writing all my notes down. And she was a medical student with me, and she was saying, "Sister, there's so many want to see you." And it got to me, I saw 20, 30 in the morning.
The water and the food and the clothing and the kindness was there, but they were still very frightened. And this was something that I will never forget. So underneath the tables are big boxes of beautiful, bright colored shoelaces, because they're stripped of them. And I started to go around and here, giving these, and something happened in that moment that was a healing, was a blessing, was a miracle. I call it the miracle of the shoelaces. Shoelaces are not needed to survive, but they're needed for the soul to come back and for the heart to come back, because if we're thinking about picking a color, it must be safe again.
We started one-to-one learning 23 years ago, and we've been in different places. Right now, we're into 2 weeks of classes, and we already have 151 students. The number of students will go up to at least 300 students. Students come in order to learn English, beginner English. They come with no English at all. Some come and they stay many years, and they're able to eventually be in our GED classes. There are some pre-literate classes where people who never learned to speak to read or write in their own language are able to learn how to read and write. We have children's programs so that while the parents are in class, the children are able to have a program for themselves. Many of our students who are alumni of one-to-one learning continue to support one-to-one learning.
22 years ago, I met Sister Cecilia, and she introduced me to one-to-one learning. At that time, I had a baby and I was pregnant from my second one, and we couldn't go to classes, so she and her amazing group decided to come to our house and teach English to my sister-in-laws and myself. And now I'm the bookkeeper. I have a 21 and a 20-year-old kid now. They both go into Pace University. They come in and teach and help Sister Cecilia to teach a one-to-one learning.
We're now going to be having some programs for our students where they can come and talk about the problems that they are encountering because they are immigrants. So we will be having counseling services for them, and we will also be having counseling services for the little children.
And I say to my mom one day, listen, we're not going to be able to do it if you don't know the language. So one day I went to do my laundry and I saw a flyer in Spanish of English classes for free. So I called the number and a beautiful lady answered the phone. Hello, this is Sister Cecilia. And now I have a family, I have a house, my husband owns a company, and we are very happy.
Pope Francis stated it is necessary to respond to the globalization of migration with the globalization of charity and cooperation in such a way as to make the conditions for migrants more humane. For more than 140 years, the sisters have worked with immigrants from Ireland, Italy, Bosnia, Russia, Ethiopia, Mexico, Central and South America. Our work with immigrants continues. I hope that you will decide to act as a volunteer, an advocate, or a philanthropist. Who knows, in acting, you might just be entertaining an angel.